Hello again, Lionel Fray here. In the last nest, we talked about values. Now let's get into value flows. What are value flows? Well, sometimes they are even harder to define than values, but you need to be aware of them. The basic idea has to do with the nature of value and why and how it moves from place to place in your business space. Among other things, it animates your business model, which, when you see it on a value map, can help you generate insights about how it can be more effective. To help you think about them, we will define 4 kinds of value flows. We said before that after an enterprise first creates a value, its second basic purpose is to deliver that value to a customer. That's the flow we call deliverable, and when you start drawing your value maps, you will show them in blue, like this. In this case, through your distribution. Such flows will be seen when our suppliers deliver values to us too, and when their suppliers do such deliveries, and so on. That's what a typical value chain shows, with the value flowing, as we say, downstream, like a river that eventually reaches an end user. Even the messaging you send out is a kind of value flow, here shown as a dotted blue line because the value is much less tangible. So you will illustrate that concept in your imaging too. Next, we come to funds flows. Usually when a business delivers value to a customer, it gets paid, right? Those payments can take various forms, such as cash, checks, credit cards, electronic deposits to bank accounts, or even these days in cryptocurrencies like bitcoins. You will be showing those flows in green like this. And of course, you will be paying your suppliers as well. Next, we come to reverse flows. Sometimes a business delivers value and does not get paid. Think Google, for example. All the information you want and they deliver it to you for free. But wait a minute, you say. They get paid by gathering data about you that they then repackage and sell to advertisers. Sure. So that's an example of a different kind of value flow. It comes from the market back to the generator of that value and usually adds to that value. But no funds get transferred for that particular flow. Another closer to home example is the feedback that you get from your customers. You know, like the 5 stars you ask for and the comments from your customers that you hope are mostly positive. You will be showing this kind of flow in purple. Next, we come to something we call negative flows. Sometimes when a business delivers value to a customer, it also, usually unintentionally, delivers a kind of value that detracts from the value it otherwise delivers. What? Well, think about the book business I mentioned before. Before Bezos and Amazon came along, the customer had to expend some time traveling, poking around the book stacks, waiting in line to pay for the book, and so forth. For most people, if you asked them, that time had some value. And so if you were running a bookstore and could quantify all the positive values that the customer experienced, you would have to subtract the value of that customer's time from the totality of the customer experience in buying that book. Other examples are a poor quality of service that is associated with certain kinds of value flows, like, say, buying new cars. We can't always quantify such value flows, of course, but they can be very important to the success or failure of a business. Let's add it to the general value map now. And when you use it, you will be showing this kind of flow in red. Why red? Because it should be an alarm for you. It serves as a reminder to look for it when you don't expect it. So far, we've covered 5 pieces of the value map tool for you to use as you will be drawing your value map. Let me mention two more. First, there are stages. These represent places where value is created. In that sense, your business is a stage, and you will draw stages as footballs. In this simple value map, value is also created by your distribution, your suppliers, and your communications. Finally, we come to markets. These represent the cluster of customers that your business sells to. You will show these on your value map as a rectangle like this, and often together with customer values and demand. Sometimes, if you have different major clusters or market segments you need to consider, you will show several market symbols that you are delivering to. This is if you are in a B2C business. That's MBA talk for business to customer, when the customer is an end user. That is, the customer doesn't turn around and sell your value to anybody else. Now, if the customer does turn around and sell it to somebody else, then you have a B2B business, or you might be in a B2B2B business, and so forth. In those cases, you may find it helpful to show all those so-called downstream markets until you get to the end user, the C, the capital C in our lingo. So why go so far? Well, it's because sometimes, even if you are several markets upstream from the C, there may be some things you can do to enhance your value to the market that you are already selling to. So here's an example. Some years ago, Intel was selling chips primarily to makers of computers, especially laptops. So it was in a B2B business. Computer customers, the end users, were buying them with no sense or concern about the relative quality of different models or brands. One day, though, a marketing exec at Intel got an idea for a way to differentiate Intel-based computers from others. How? By promoting a message and an image, Intel Inside. This message was put on computers that used the Intel chips and was also used in consumer advertising that Intel used to promote their brand of computers. Intel encouraged this arrangement by financially supporting both the labeling and the advertising downstream. And after a while, the consumers got a message, namely that the key to consumer quality and performance was the Intel microprocessor in the machine. And if it was Intel Inside, it must, of course, be a better machine. The result was that more computers labeled Intel Inside were purchased by end users. The Intel customers, the laptop manufacturers, enjoyed this growth and bought more Intel microprocessor chips. And Intel's market share of such microprocessors became by far the largest in the industry. In value translation, Intel, a B2B company, increased the value to its customers by increasing the perceived value to its customers' customers. And of course, it captured more value for itself too. More sales, more profits, a larger market share, and a more valuable brand. Okay, let me summarize. I've given you 7 tools for you to use when you begin to draw your own value map. Let me walk you through them by reviewing these in a simple value map. We start with your stages. That's where value is created. And we go on to your market. And now we come to your flows, the deliverable value flows, the messaging that we talked about through your communications channel, the funds flow when payment is made to the value received, the reverse values that come from the market, and the dreaded negative values that you hope are not going to be significant in your business. So I hope you've gotten something out of this session. Tune in to the next one, Nest number 5, where we'll show you an example of how a value mapping process could generate a big aha.